What is going down, my YouTube family? It's your boy Zary from the XMG, and we are here for my first edition of what I call a Noobs Guide to. I did some of the beginning ones, but this is my first champion one, and anybody who followed me from Dragons Champions, you will know I break down the character. You're going to see some video pop up of moves, try to keep you engaged. I played this character. I unlocked him, got him to 60. Glyphs, is up to completely maxed. Abilities are completely maxed. The one thing I am missing from this character is the Ascension. Luckily for us, the Ascension on this character is extremely easy to predict how it's going to change the way he works. So that's a plus for us. I break down, I played it a lot over, I'm shooting this Monday. I played him huge amount in all game modes, and this is my thoughts and feelings on the character, so I break them down and we'll go from there. So sit back and let's talk a little bit about Godfrey. We're going to start this Noobs Guides to Godfrey by breaking down his move kit. Starting with his trait, deals 80% damage to the enemy recipient of a positive effect, with a 50% chance of extending the cooldown on the target's ultimate ability by 1 turn. This happens once per round. Now his Ascension trait takes that 50% and makes it 100%. So like I said, it's still 1 turn per round, but it is a 100% shot. Now one problem you find here with this move is until you get him ascended, there's really nothing that tells you that it increased. You know, it doesn't say like ultimate increased or anything. So you don't really know if it works. That's the one problem I have with this move. But having this guy become ascended is huge. Because if you get somebody who puts a shield up on everybody at the start of a turn, he's going to AoE. So that means he's extending everyone's ultimate by 1 turn right off the bat. So, you know, a couple of clips that are popping up, you've seen that happen. It's a really, really good trait. Really, really cool. And it really makes the character what he is. Onslaught. Onslaught is his basic ability, deals 80% damage to one enemy and applies defensive down. So we're seeing here defensive down, so he's putting on a trait. So having focus on this champion is going to be very, very important if you're concerned about defensive down. Just like every character, you can play them and not worry about the debuffs they put out. But having a defensive down or something of a negative status effect on a basic is really, really nice. Special ability. Kakofuni deals 100% damage to one enemy and applies unhealable for 2 turns. So again, we're seeing a negative status effect where we're going to want to have focus. Spoiler, you're not building this guy for damage. Okay, he's not there to do damage. He is a support character. Having unhealable on this move on a 3-turn cooldown, to me, is exceptional. He's putting it up for 2 turns, right? So pretty much essentially, you're going to have that 1 turn where they can heal themselves, and you can put it right back up. He really mitigates a healer, a support character, and that ties into his ultimate ability, Sufficiency, where he deals 120% damage to an enemy and randomly transfers 1 positive status effect from the target to all team members, removes all positive status effects. So what we're seeing here is he comes in this crashing move. If they have 4 buffs, he's going to pick 1 randomly. So if they have a shield, attack up, heal over time, and invincible, he's going to pick 1 of those, and he's going to automatically spread it to your whole team. All right, for the same duration. So if he picked 1 that has a 2-turn duration, it's going to be a 2-turn duration, things like that. At least what I've noticed, that's all the best I can speak to it. But then he wipes all of the positive status effects. This move is killer for champions like Dark Nick, Yolanda, things like that. You can take that whole shield buff away, clear off all of their positive status effects, and nuke them. So this move, Sufficiency, is really, really a good ultimate, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is exceptional. So, off of his move kit, what can we take away from Godfrey? We can take away, he dispels. Dispelling is massive. Even though it's a 1 person, you're removing everything. They could have 72 buffs on him. We're taking them all. He spreads the buffs. So essentially, he can buff your whole team, right? So he's dispelling and a team-wide buff. It's amazing. He has out-of-turn damage. Out-of-turn damage is his passive ability. As soon as somebody throws up a positive effect on themselves, bam, he's coming in. And he's going to be extending the ultimate once he's ascended. Alright, so that brings me to the next one. He prolongs ults. So somebody like Yolanda, somebody like a Winstrix in Arena, this will give you the up. We don't have to worry about using your stun spell right away or things like that. He's decrease defense and unhealable. So, you know, he has that chance to come through to decrease, have your team do more damage. You'll be able to nuke people down faster because they're not receiving those heals, and they're all on relatively good, cooldowns. 3 turned on the unhealable, and his basic is the defensive down. Negative on him, though, he's not a damage dealer. Like I said, you're not building this guy to do damage at all. What you want to do with this guy is any kind of damage you get is just a bonus. You're looking for him to strip, spread, and extend. You're not looking for him to do damage. I tried putting him in a full attack set, and he's still hitting very, very weak. So you're not having this guy do damage. And then the other negative status thing, until you get him ascended, he's not at 100% strength. I mean, he is usable, yes. So that ascension is just going to make him even better, and it's going to help out a ton. So now that we've looked at his move kit, we talked about what he can do. What are the stats you want to focus on this guy? You want health. You want him to be as survivable as possible. So health and defense, you can't go wrong really, in my opinion, either way. You don't want him to die quickly. You don't want him to target him and get burned and nuked out. Speed, you want him to go quickly. His ultimate and his special are only 3-turn cooldowns, so the faster he goes in those rounds, he could get ahead of somebody in that round to put on that unhealable, to extend that ultimate again, so you don't have to deal with it. So speed. We touched on focus, right? You want focus on this guy. I ran him anywhere between 28 and 47% focus when I was doing my testing, and I found that 35 to 40% focus, he was not getting resisted by anybody unless they were opposite elemental affinity. And even then, it was really just the defensive down on the basic, because he's only got like an 80% shot to put that on. So focus. You also want to talk about resistance. You don't want him to get silenced, stunned, things like that, because that can still happen regardless of how fast he goes or how tanky he is, right? So resistance isn't bad. And then attack. I put attack on there with a question mark. You're not building this guy for attack, but anything he gives you is great. So if you have one that gives you agility, you get a Terra helm that gives you speed and agility as a substat, or speed and attack, a little extra attack's not going to hurt, but it isn't going to make a huge difference in the way you build this champion. So now we talked about what we want to focus on. What are some really good gear sets? Obviously, you got the Terra set, 15% health. You got the Raider set, give him speed. You got the Raptor set for focus if you don't got secondaries. You got the Vanguard set, which I do like quite a bit, because Vanguard set is that 15% defense, right? So that's going to help out. Now, when it comes to force sets, you have a Revival set. Now, what I like so much about the Revival set is you restore 10% of your maximum health at the start of the turn, or 20% if you're under 50% health. It's going to keep him alive longer. You're building him to be tanky, so if you're stacking that health, putting him in a Revival set is only going to help you out, to keep him alive, to help everybody, and to keep him moving, right? Next one up is the Rebel set. This could possibly be my favorite set for him, and here's why. Attacks have a 20% chance to stun an enemy for one turn. What I do like about this is when I was playing around with him in the Rebel set, I was playing a team, I forgot what it was, but it was a Winstrix in Arena. Winstrix beat me out first, threw up the buffs on everybody. He came through with his passive ability, and every single stun hit. I had a whole team lockout because they used a positive status effect. Now, is it always going to work out like that because it's 20% chance? No, I just got extremely freaking lucky, and that's how it worked out. But he doesn't do a lot of damage, so let's get him some more crowd control. Let him be that support character. That's why I think the Rebel set is really good on him. You also have the Dragon Scale set, and the one reason I like the Dragon Scale set for him is the Dragon Scale set, it takes 30% less damage from critical strikes. So you have those AoEs, it goes into his survivability, and it's much like Hakron in that you want him, you're building him for health, you just want him to stay alive so he can strip those buffs, he can extend the ults. So Dragon Scale, 30% less damage from an AoE or from critical strike is huge, and it can really extend his survivability. And then, of course, you have the Curse set. Now, if you're really concerned about him putting it on that defensive down, Curse set is viable. It's not my favorite, but it is an option because he can spread that defensive down rather quickly. People might be targeting quite often to try to get him out of there, so you do have the Curse set. But my recommended gear set for Godfrey is the Rebel set. And then because that'll be your 4 set, then you can either use the Terra, Raider, or Raptor. And I say that because if you want him to be tankier, put a Terra set on him. You want him to get out in front and go faster? Put the Raider set on. You're struggling to get focus and you want him to land that unhealable? Put a Raptor set on him. So those 3 are completely up to you and how you want to do it. But the Rebel set, with one of those 3, I went for Raider because I want him to go fast to get the cooldowns out. I want to get in front of the other team to get that unhealable back on or to extend that ultimate. But I was able to have enough focus in my secondaries on others to accomplish that, to not have to put the Raptor set on. So like I said, where to use this guy? Where did I find? This is a 5-star rating of where I found him to be very, very successful. Bounties. Bounties is a 5-star. In certain situations. Is you're taking him into every bounties? No, but he's extremely useful in bounties when you have that buff spreader, or you can't get it. You have the invincibles come out, you got those huge shields come out. He comes in, you can take that person down rather quickly, and you can use him. You don't have to use the defensive down spell if you're lacking the damage, because he can spread that around with his basic. So he's very, very 5-star in bounties. Endless Trial, he's a 3. You might use him at a boss fight, like if you're fighting like Tia or something like that, because they get stuck behind, buffs and things like that. But as far as an Endless Trial through like the whole run, he's usable and he can do it, but he's going to slow down your fights, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Arena Offense. Arena Offense to me is a 4-star. And if you have him Ascended, he's probably a 5. But for me at Unascended 4-star, Unascended, he's a 4-star in Arena Offense because he extends those ult, he's stripping, he's debuffing, he's spreading, he's increasing the survivability, damage of your team. You can focus on that one person to get him out of there right away. Very, very good on Arena Offense. Arena Defense, he is a 3. Now, I don't really have a way to test this, but I watched the AI play him on auto quite a bit over the course of the weekend, and the AI doesn't play him right. He's putting unhealable up on people who don't need it to be on. Defensive down, he's going after the person with the lowest health, so they might already have defensive down instead of spreading it. So the AI plays this character pretty poorly, but if it does go in your favor, it can be done, but definitely more of an offensive arena character. Void Tower. Void Tower, I put him as a 3 because, again, you're not going to bring him into every fight, but the fights you need him in Void Tower, he's a 5. But as an overall champion, he's a 3-star. Guild Boss, flat out 1. I did not find him useful in the Guild Boss at all. You cannot strip those buffs from the Guild Boss. You can't copy them. The unhealable doesn't matter versus the Guild Boss. And defensive down, if you're bringing him in just for a defensive down, use the defensive down spell instead and pump out more damage. He doesn't have the raw damage to contribute in Guild Boss at all. Now, when it comes to No Man's Land, he's not really good except for, and what I found is the Wrathful Flood. Because of the unhealable. That boss does heal himself, so if you don't have the DPS, you can put up that unhealable on the boss and you can get through it quicker. Otherwise, he just prolongs the fight greatly. But for the Wrathful Flood, I did find him very useful in that. Now, the Arcane Dementor, I just, it's a 1. For the unhealable, the Ash will heal himself, but he's off affinity and he just gets slaughtered. So I really didn't find much use for him in there. Because you can't manipulate the boss's cooldowns, you can't strip the bosses of their buffs, and that's his whole game, right? So that's why I put him at a 1-star there. And finally, we have Adventure, 3-star, and this is kind of sums up like the Void Tower and Endless Trial. For those niche fights where you need him to strip a buff, you need him to get the shield out of the way, you have a team full of healers and you want to get that 1 DPS out of there, so you use the unhealable. He's amazing. Now, Ascended, he might even go up to a 4-star, but your normal grinding runs, he's not going to be in your speed team at all. He's going to slow you down. He doesn't do a lot of damage, so I had to put him in a 3 because he's doable. You can use him, and it's going to work. It's just he doesn't have the damage output to help with those speed runs and farming and things like that, so you're only using him on those niche encounters in adventure mode. So to sum up Godfrey, here's my final thoughts. He's fun and super easy to build. You can put him in a full Terra set and he'll do just fine. You could put a mishmash of a Terra, Raider, and Raptor set on. Not recommended, but you could do it, right? He's super easy to build. Just all you really got to worry about is survivability with the guy. That's it. He's not an overall game changer, but he's a situational game changer. And what I mean by that is you're not going to pull him and you're not going to blow your way through all the content in the world. But you could be stuck on a bounty. He's going to come in and he can make all the difference in the world on that bounty. So that's what I mean by he's a situational game changer. He's good to have as a spare backup ready to go for the arena, especially for those higher end arena players. I really think that could be different. I really think he has longevity in this game because of how niche he is. If somebody comes out and they're just putting out crazy shields and you can strip them, Godfrey's going to be there for you. So he does have a lot of longevity in this game because of how niche he is. You might not use him all the time, but there's always going to be a place at some point in the game you're going to wish you had him, right? And to grade this character, I put him at a high B, low A tier because he's not an overall game changer. He's if I was rating him on a situational, like, oh, you're going against the healing team, he's an S tier champion. But he's not. We got to think overall picture here. So high B, low A tier. If you pull him, I wouldn't drop what you're doing to build him unless you are stuck in one of those situational fights where you need him. But eventually you're going to want to get this guy up because he can help you do things you couldn't do before. And that's where Godfrey sits in my book. So my YouTube family, there you have it. There is Godfrey for Noobs. And like I said, this is just my opinion and what I found out in a course of 52 hours of testing, right? I tried all different comps, all different things, spent a lot of energy doing it, went through a lot of meal tickets just to test this stuff out to get an overall picture for everybody. So I hope this helped you out. Please leave in the comments down below if you like this format, if you think there's something I missed that you'd like to see incorporated, or other champions you'd like to see me do. So there's your noob guide to Godfrey. Hope you liked it. It's really fun to make. So I love y'all. See you in the next one. I'm out.